Great. So when I saw that the Costa couldn't present today, I thought immediately, well, I have something I really want to share with you. And it's a productivity hack. And I know there's a lot of those going around. And so I don't share this with you lightly. I highly endorse it. I've been practicing it myself. Steve and I are now doing it. It's called work cycles. So let's just step back a moment and talk about planning. How many of you in your day-to-day jobs feel like planning is very important to get the results you need? Yeah? Okay. Very important. I come from a background of humanitarian aid in the third world, in program management and monitoring and evaluation. So we have a phrase, and I think you've heard it, what gets measured gets managed, right? And we know this about projects. We know this when we have big endeavors, we need to step back and plan. What we haven't acknowledged as much is that we can take that same high focus from the big projects down to the micro level and get really spectacular results when we do that. What does that mean, the micro level? I mean when you have an hour and a half in front of you and you're at your desk, or 4 hours. So Work Cycles is from a company called ultraworking.com. It's a free spreadsheet. You don't have to know about spreadsheets to use it. They've made it very user-friendly. And what it does is asks you to, when you go to do a piece of work, you're going to sit down at your desk, and you have a couple of hours, that you stop, and you take a minute, and you say, hey, what am I going to do during these couple of hours? What am I going to do? How am I going to know it's done? What kind of distractions may interrupt me? What do I need to be aware of during this time? So you write these things down. And then they suggest that you work in 30-minute cycles with a 10-minute break. And that's completely modifiable. Steve and I have worked in 50-minute cycles with a 10-minute break. You can do it any way you want it, but they recommend 30. So figure out so you have your big thing, right? What are you going to do over this, let's say, 3 hours? Yeah, maybe I'm going to work on my website. That's pretty vague. I'm going to work on my website. So I'm going to ask you to break that down. What exactly are you going to do? I'm going to select a color scheme. Okay. So you get real specific. So it can be binary. You have to be able to say, I did it or I didn't do it. Working on your website is too vague. So you get real concrete about what you're going to do during your time. And then you look at the first cycle, and let's use 30 minutes as an example, because that's what they recommend, and it works really well. During this 30 minutes, what are you going to do? And you write that down. And and in the spreadsheet, there's the other 30-minute cycles too. You don't go there, because you don't know what you're going to do in those 30 minutes, because you don't know what you're going to get done in this 30 minutes. That's just fantasy. That's hope. That's wishful thinking. We're just going to work on this 30 minutes, and we have our big goal, right? So I'm going to show you an example of the spreadsheet. This is one of the 4. There's the big planning spreadsheet for the whole time, and then there's the cycle spreadsheet. This is their example they give. What am I planning to do this cycle, this 30 minutes? I'm doing a full rough draft of the Australia proposal. How will I get started? What's your first step? You identify that. Already created a GDoc, then start writing it. Any hazards present? Speed is important. This is a particular example of what someone said their hazard was. And then you have energy. You have high, medium, low. It's a drop-down menu. You have morale, high, medium, low. So you sort of track your energy and your morale as you go through this. This takes less than a minute usually, filling in this for your 30-minute cycle. So then you start, and you put a timer on. Yeah, put a timer on for 30 minutes. And you might want to do a 2-minute, like 28 minutes, so you have time to wind down, but that's up to you. So in 30 minutes, you put your timer on, and you just get working. You get working. And then the timer goes off, and you stop. And you go back and say, what did I say I was going to do? Where am I? What were the hazards? Right? So you start looking at what you did, and then you take a 10-minute break. Wow.
It's not...
I know it's not. Yeah, I think so. You take a 10-minute break, and you get up and you walk around, you get some water. Yeah? And relax for 10 minutes.
Or carrots.
Thank you. Or you eat your carrots. Okay.
Can you hit snooze on your alarm?
You can. You can absolutely hit snooze on your alarm. If you get good at this, you've broken it down to the 30-minute chunks or the 50-minute chunks. So as you get good at it, you can kind of figure out what you can do. And maybe you don't want to stop right there because you're on a roll and you need to keep the idea going. That's absolutely right, your prerogative. So the completed cycles target, it's yes, no, and they have half. It's not binary. Yes, no, half. Okay, it's a drop-down menu. Anything noteworthy during those 30 minutes? What have I put down? I've said yes. I answered the phone. So shoot me now. Don't answer the phone when you're trying to get work done. Any distractions? Incoming phone call. Things to improve. Put phone in airplane mode.
What about Facebook?
Yes. And there's all these apps, these smart apps now for Mac and for PCs to actually get your social media off your computer for periods of time to help you to not do that. So you start watching what you're doing. Yeah, and then you go to the second cycle 2. And because it's a spreadsheet, when you put in the hours, when you're going to start in your cycles, it automatically populates what time each cycle starts. Okay? So then you do it again, what you're going to do, and you set your timer, and then you track what you did. So how are people using this? So Work Cycles is free. They have a few other spreadsheets that are free. It's a couple, what it looks to me like it's a startup company, young, I call them kids, not, probably in their late 20s and early 30s, really smart. They had, on their website, they said they have no negative reviews of anyone ever using Work Cycles. Wow. One of the founders is Sebastian, and I actually spoke with him for an hour, personally, because when you sign up...
Would it be 50 minutes?
Stop for a break.
Bingo.
You're retired.
He actually gave me a whole hour. I know. So when you sign up with Work Cycles, it's free, but you can meet them. You can meet the founders. You can talk to them. They want to know how you're using it, what you're doing. How are they making money on this? Something called social accountability. Some of you, like me, work from home and we're solo entrepreneurs. There's a lot of responsibility to manage your time. What they offer for a fee is called the Work Gym, TWG. You'll see it on their website, the Work Gym. They have moderated work cycles where you can go onto Zoom, sign up for the moderated work cycle, go on to Zoom, and you'll see all these people on your screen, all these other workers, doing all this other stuff on the same cycle. 30 minutes, 10 off. So all of a sudden you have people who are doing what you're doing, working at the time you're working, and stopping at the time you're stopping, and reviewing and taking a break. And so you get all this support.
It's like a group.
It feels like a group. And it's moderated. So Sebastian says, hey, at 28 minutes, he says, hey, 28 minutes, you got 2 minutes to wind up what you're doing. 30 minutes, let's take a break. And then, because it's moderated, if you want to stay on the Zoom call, you can talk to him or there's some social interaction possible, and he can also review how you're doing and really make comments on, if you share your Google spreadsheet with him, he'll comment on it, how you're framing your time, how the wording you're using, because he has a lot of comments, that's his thing, how productive you're being and how precise you're being. So with social accountability, that's what you sign up for. They have a special now where they're offering it like for $1 instead of $149. But people are buying into it, and they have, mostly weekends right now for America, and in Europe they have some weekdays. Their goal is to get 24 hours a day moderated work cycles. So you can hop on, you can sign up and hop on any period of time you need, and those are people. Moderated, work, stop, take a break, go back to work, and keep reviewing. And so, Steve, what's your experience? So Steve's in an accountability group with me, and so I shared this with him. And so I said, hey, all Thursdays and Fridays, I'm doing work cycles. you want to hop on with me? And he did. So I was there at my desk, he's at his desk, and we started doing this.
Yeah, I love the idea of first setting up what your day is going to be, what your goals are going to be for the day. And then you have a small amount of time, and then you break it up. And in each period, you break up, and it's realistic. I did this, here's the problems I fell into, and then the next time you started, okay, here's where I started up again. And so it's not just some, I'm going to do this. It's actually, and then, I think the more you do that, the more you learn. Some of the things down at the bottom here, your results at the end of each cycle, what stopped me from being successful? And if you're honest, it can be really useful to look back and see what has happened. I think you can become aware of your work habits in a lot clearer way.
Yeah, yeah. People are reporting 2 to 4 times more productivity, and I would definitely say that people are reporting getting a whole day's of work done before lunch. Because we don't usually bring this amount of focus and clarity to our work. Yeah.
Just one more thing too.
You're getting your messages.
It's a.
I love you, man. I love you.
It gives you those timers too. So it's really clear what you should be doing. And yeah. So it's not an amorphous day. It's really, you're setting yourself up
For success, for love, absolutely. So, so it's ultraworking.com. You go on there. You can they share with you a Google Doc that you could you say make a copy in my Google Docs. So you have to be in Google Docs to use this. And like I said, it's free. They also have a light version of this on one spreadsheet, but you have to scroll up and down, so people do or don't like that. They have a couple other spreadsheets. They have a monthly review, and they have videos to tell you how to use this. And the only unintuitive thing about this, the only one, is that don't fill out all your 30-minute cycles. Well, this 30-minute, I'm going to do this, and this 30, just do one and see where you end. Okay, so that's the only thing I would say. I don't think you really need to watch the video, but it's helpful. So yeah, ultraworking.com. So any questions? I think, yeah.
So how did you find your fatigue level to be any different, worse, better? Because I think you guys were going to do a 5-hour.
Yeah, I did 5 hours. Yeah.
So how did that feel energy-wise, stopping and starting?
Stopping, I felt that I got up every time I stopped and went to the kitchen, got some water, just like stretched, because I was doing like computer work, which can kind of feel like that. So I felt like my energy was excellent. I actually said no, honestly, I said medium, 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 medium. Morale got higher and higher as I got more and more work done. But my energy was just, medium. Yeah.
For me, yeah, it was really interesting because when somebody else is keeping time for you, then you really do have to literally drop what you're doing.
I was a timer.
Which can be a little disconcerting, especially if you're in a really clear headspace. But I mean, overall, it's a good place to be. It's a good idea.
And I think stopping at 50 minutes, if you need to keep going, is not a good idea. I should ask Sebastian that. It makes a lot of sense to work with that momentum. Yeah. Any other questions?
Or could you change tasks if you feel like you're on a roll? You got 50 minutes in, but I don't want to do that. Or I found a solution in my working, so I'm going to go do that because I can spend a minute or two there.
Yeah, you're in complete control. You're in complete control. To use your time as you think best. You know what I did the first cycle I did? I said, I'm going to clean up my desk. I sat down, I'm like, I can't work like this. And so I put the first half hour, clean my desk, and take all the files I'm going to be using in the next 4 hours and put them on my desk. And that was what I did that first half hour. And I stopped cleaning my desk at the half-hour mark because cleaning your desk can kind of go on. So I just said, I'm going to just do it for 30 minutes, and that's where I'll stop and start working. So that was really good to put that limit on there too. And I was even thinking of adding in a 30-minute like little yoga in a 5-hour stretch.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what if I just did yoga for half hour in the middle of a work cycle? So I'm thinking about how to pack that too.
All right, well, thanks very much, Suzanne.